when George Lucas was first dreaming up the idea for Episode 1.
All I need is an idea.
Obi-Wan Kenobi took center stage. The Jedi wore black robes, Anakin was older, Darth Maul looked like this, and 3PO couldn't even speak.
Oh no.
Just about everything I'm going to cover comes from either the making of Episode 1, the art of Episode 1, Star Wars storyboards, or the Phantom Menace bonus DVD. Early drafts and concept art tells the many, missed, and sometimes strange stories of the Phantom Menace we never got to see. These are just some of the unused ideas from Star Wars Episode 1. An early draft of the Phantom Menace, back then known as The Beginning, opens with Obi-Wan confronting the Trade Federation alone.
I have a bad feeling about this.
That's because in this version of the script, instead of being a Padawan learner, Obi-Wan Kenobi is himself a fully fledged Jedi by 32 BBY.
What?
In fact, Qui-Gon has a much smaller role in this version, only showing up near the end. After squaring off with Maul in the desert, Obi-Wan meets with the Jedi Council to tell them the Sith have returned, but the Council rejects his claim. Qui-Gon chooses to believe Obi-Wan, and the pair are reunited to hunt down the Sith Lord Darth Maul. The way that Qui-Gon Jinn was handled in this early version of Episode 1 reminds me a lot of Biggs Darklighter in A New Hope. Like Biggs, Qui-Gon is a friend and mentor to our main character. Just like Biggs and Luke, their reunion is short-lived when opposing forces separate them for good, with the friend and mentor paying the ultimate price for the other's victory. Did you know that in early concepts and storyboards, the Jedi Order dressed in all black with different design aesthetics to what we eventually saw in the prequels? Just take a look at Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon here with art by the iconic concept artist Ian McCaig. While the dressed in all black style would become part of the Sith dress code, this isn't the first time we've seen the Jedi decked out like they're ready for a funeral. In fact, one of the earliest depictions of the days of the Republic show a slightly younger Obi-Wan Kenobi during the Clone Wars dressed in a black jumpsuit. These panels come from 1979 and the original Marvel comic run of Star Wars, issue 24, titled Silent Drifting. That wasn't the only time Obi-Wan donned a darker wardrobe as part of his younger days. Check out this interesting design for Padawan Obi-Wan Kenobi, which George Lucas ultimately passed on. The saga would revisit the look for Kryz Mosodi, who has shown up in the Clone Wars series Season 4, Episode 20. Enough about Obi-Wan, what about Anakin? Well, young Skywalker was originally supposed to be older, at least according to the original draft, the storyboards, and the concept sketches. George Lucas's draft notes for Anakin Skywalker back in '94 put the character anywhere between the ages of 9 and 20 years old.
How long have you been here?
Why?
You're a slave?
Of course.
Ian McCaig said he modelled young Anakin Skywalker after child actor James Robinson, who played young William Wallace in Braveheart. But McCaig realised that by the time they came to shoot Episode 1, young Skywalker would actually be taller than Obi-Wan, and he'd have a 5 o'clock shadow. Instead, Lucas went the other direction, to explore the character and experiences of Anakin Skywalker at an age he was getting reacquainted with. Someone the same age as his 10-year-old daughter, Katie Lucas, who has a cameo in the movie, by the way.
You've been working on that thing for years.
So Anakin was aged down, but the rest of the cast stayed the same age. Maybe that's why this storyboard of Anakin stealing a kiss from Padme while Obi-Wan has his back turned was left out of the film. Speaking of unfinished business, the original idea for everyone's favourite pontificating protocol droid was to leave him in even less of a finished state than we wound up getting in The Phantom Menace.
Come back at once. You haven't finished with me yet.
While 3PO likes nothing more than the sound of his own voice, Anakin hadn't gotten round to giving him one.
He's perfect.
Anakin tells Padme he built 3PO from rejected parts and that he's still missing an outer casing and a voice, meaning the drama queen droid was mute by the time Anakin left Tatooine.
I'll make sure Mom doesn't sell you or anything.
Sell me? I'm standing here in pieces and you're having delusions of grandeur.
So what about R2?
R2-D2, Your Highness.
Lucas said during pre-production that he wanted R2 to have more to do in this episode, which is likely why he got his own moment to save the day. Sketches show that legendary prequel concept artist Doug Chiang took things a step further, designing rockets for R2 back in 1996, meaning he waited 6 years to finally see the little astromech take flight in Attack of the Clones.
That little droid did it!
In the initial versions of the duel between Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon and Maul, the Sith Lord had some new Force tricks up his sleeve. After separating the Jedi from one another, Obi-Wan would separate Maul's top half from his bottom half, just like his fate in the final film. But this version of Maul was actually a dark side trick, a projection, a similar technique to what Luke Skywalker would use decades later to trick Kylo Ren on Crait during the final moments of their clash in Episode 8.
See you around, kid.
Oh yeah, Darth Maul didn't always look like that either. This nightmare image was Ian McCaig's first attempt at the Sith Apprentice. When discussing his process, McCaig wrote that George Lucas described Darth Maul to him as a vision from his worst nightmare. To McCaig, that meant an image of a corpse-like face peering through rivulets of rain on his studio window.
How?
When he presented the drawing to Lucas at the next meeting, the director slammed the folder shut, handed it back to McCaig, and with a shudder, asked him for his second worst nightmare. Here at Star Wars Sublight, we like to come out of hyperspace to explore the finer details of a galaxy far, far away. Why not subscribe if you haven't already, and give this video a like if you learned something new. Thanks for joining me, and remember, the Force will be with you, always.